All right, and welcome back to the Paisan Sports podcast, take two of this episode, presented by the Recliner. Dante DePlacido, joined as always by Zach Deal of What's the Deal Sports. So once again, I'm going to ask, what's the deal with going for it with 30 seconds to go and it's 4th and 8 in the game? Now, once again, this isn't me complaining about the win. A win is a win. I'll always be happy with a win. I hate losing, so I'm always very relieved if we win. But it is just
your fantasy football team want to say the same thing.
It was an insane thing to do. Thankfully, they still won. But I mean, what was the deal with that?
Yeah, it was a pretty questionable call. I mean, the Eagles, since they've won those past two Super Bowls, the first two in franchise history, what do you think? A couple of the things we already talked about, pass rush and running the ball as two parts of their identity that are on the field, but another category of their identity as well. What do you think has spurred those two Super Bowl victories in the past 8 to 9 years? What is one style of coaching that they've used that has spurred that between Doug Peterson and Nick Sirianni, the only two?
I mean, an aggressive style.
Agree.
Coaching,
that's what I'm getting
at. That's way too far, though. That's way too far.
Yeah, but you're not upset when it works. I mean, what was it? Was it the Giants game last year when Saquon took himself out of the game in Philly? Or was it in Philly? I think it was Philly. Whatever the first Giants game was. No, it wasn't in Philly because the end of the season game, week 18, was in Philly, and I went to that game. So remember, I think it was the Giants when they played in New Jersey. I was about to say New York, New Jersey last year. And it was like 4th and 2, and they threw that bomb to A.J. Brown for 51 yards down the sidelines.
Well, that's different, right? And I'll explain.
It's different because it worked.
Yes, exactly. That's why
you would not have been upset. We're not analyzing.
Stop. Let me finish my thought. I'm
trying to walk you through your thought here.
Before you. It works because it's 4th and 2, and the last thing they're expecting them to do is bomb it over the top. On 4th and 8, that doesn't work. So if you can't, and that's the thing, it always works when it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and they throw it over the top to A.J. Brown. It's not set up for that to work on a 4th and 8. So that's the only reason why you can get away with doing that on a 4th and 1 or a 4th and 2, because you know it's going to work. You have a lot of uncertainty with doing it on a 4th and 8, and clearly it didn't work. So no, I like when they do it on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. I don't like it on the 4th and 8 or 4th and 9, whatever it was.
I mean, I guess that's fair enough, but I feel like we got to hold the same thought process between whether it works or it doesn't work, because at the end of the day, I mean, maybe that specific pass, or you're more so dissecting the play call itself from Kevin Patullo or the decision, because there's two different people
it's the decision. It's the decision to go for it on if it's
so you would agree. Let's talk about this.
4th and 3 or lower, and you want to just put the game away and keep your defense off the field, go for it. But on a 4th and 8, especially when you're at the 38-yard line, that's where the other team is going to get the ball, and all they have to do is kick a field goal to tie it. That's just stupid. Punt the ball away, back him up with 30 seconds to go in the game.
I mean, I agree, but I would just say the one thing I will say is the person who calls the play for the Philadelphia Eagles' sake is different than the person who makes the decision. Yeah. So it was Doug Peterson's decision and Kevin Patullo's play call.
For it, and Patullo's play call. Yeah, I think it was really.
So that's what I'm just trying to make sure we're clear on that, because I know you know that. I'm just trying to make sure the audience is clear on that, because that means where it's like, maybe they weren't in agreement on what the play call should have been exactly. You know what I mean? So, I mean, at the end of the day, I like the play call just because I feel like it fits our mindset of what the Eagles are trying to do and the formula of what they try to provide. I mean, they kick the field goal, anything can happen. You've seen the explanation from Nick Sirianni himself was actually because he thought the trajectory of the kick would be low, and we kind of know how that story is.
Yeah, and he didn't even mention the possibility of punting, which I think is just insane.
Also, if we want to open up that door, Braden Mann had his worst game as an Eagle on Monday night.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you would have.
He had a 69-yard An
He
absolute
would have been
what
asking
Canadians
him
would
to
say.
simply set them up with worse field position than if they were to turn it over on downs. I think he would have been able to
Yeah, but
accomplish.
we also lost the field position battle because I mean, what the ball was on it was like in between the 35 and the 40, if I believe correctly. And
I think it was almost 36. No,
I mean, yeah, exactly. So what I just said. So Braden Mann shanked one earlier from the what? His own 20-yard line to barely the 50-yard line, a 30-yard punt, and then shanked another one. Could we even trust him to coffin corner that in to the spot that we need him to be, or he just kicks it out of the end zone?
Well, no. What I'm saying is, even if he shanks it, let's say they punt from the. Why am I blanking? The Packers 36, right?
Yeah.
And he shanks it to the Packers. Let's say, even for sake of argument, there's some weird, bizarre world where he shanks it to the Packers 30. That's still a big improvement.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to imply
let's say he punts it for a touchback. That's still the 20. That's still a bit like all he had to do. Like all you need is just a punt. It didn't have to be a good punt. You just need a punt. So I think that argument, just toss that out the window.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying in general. It also comes back to the 25 on a punt, but in general,
it comes back to the 20.
No, it's the 25. Look it up.
They literally had a touchback that went to the 20 in that game.
Look it up, but we're not going to sit here and argue about that.
The touchback that was called into question, whether it was a safety or not, because he grabbed the ball while he was.
Yeah, I just told you we're not going to argue about this. I'm just telling you we're not going to argue about this. But I'm not saying that he's going to. I'm not saying that he's going to shank the punt. I'm just saying I can't trust him in general, and the punt can get blocked. This, that, the other. There's 30 seconds on the clock, bro. I'm not overanalyzing a decision of a guy that's won 23 out of the last 27. Whatever the stat is at this current moment.
Okay, hold on, because I preface this by saying I'm not actually complaining. I'm just saying what the hell was going on there, right? I'm not saying, what's up with Sirianni? That was a stupid decision. No, I'm just saying it was an insane decision. All right, I'm not.
I hate the conversation.
Not shit on Sirianni here.
I mean, yeah, but also at the end of the day, we're not going to sit here having a podcast on the Eagles and just like not analyze whether we criticize or we show love. Either way, we're not just going to sit here and just play one side because there's decisions throughout the game. But with that being said, everybody expects the Eagles now within the territory of being the best team in the NFC guaranteed for the past 4 years. The Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. They act like everything's always going to be smooth sailing. And just because we have Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, and all the guys on defense, that we're going to win every game by 21 points, especially on the road in Lambeau, arguably the hardest place to play in the entire league. So
that's the thing. There's a lot of fans complaining about the offense and being upset even after the win. Listen, you're on the road in Lambeau. It's freezing out. You're going up against one of the top defenses in the NFL. And not only that, what happened with the offense in the previous game? What did Jalen Hurts throw for 4 touchdowns? The offense has been looking a lot better as of late. And on the road in Lambeau against the top defense in the NFL, the offense didn't have the best performance. So be it. They got the W.
Yeah, it was just one of those games. It felt like a playoff game in Week 10. That's how it felt to me, especially on Monday Night Football. They also have a lot of big-time, prime-time games in general that they have to deal with too. So they're just in an area where it doesn't matter what happens. They just need to win games, and that's what they're doing right now. Also, they neutralized one of the best players in the entire league. Micah Parsons' stat line is 0 sacks, 0 QB hits, 0 TFLs, 0 forced fumbles, 0 picks, 0 passes defended, 1 solo tackle, and it was the trip that should have been a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, that was bad. That was a bad missed call, and
I see why they didn't call it because it's not like it wasn't intentional, but it was 100% a trip. He was trying to make a tackle, but his body got into the way and he tripped him, and it was a clear state trip.
Jump kicked his leg out.
But I don't think he did it intentionally. But there was,
it definitely.
Yeah, but that should have been a penalty. Also, I mean,
the refs were bad on both sides. Honestly,
they keep missing our guards going off sides on the tush pushes, but they also don't call it either way, and they kind of jag it either way. So that's just in its own gray territory in that. But let's talk about some of the things.
I didn't like the PI call on Jahad Campbell.
I watched that back. I watched that back at the gym today when I was there because they had the games on at the gym and stuff, and I saw it the
Yeah,
past
he
2 days
kind
in
of
the
just
morning. And
fell, and they called it.
yeah, he fell. The angle, it was like
fell.
luck. It was the angle, and in that moment of the game, it's tough to call. But I mean, I guess that juiced up the game a little bit with some more excitement.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I thought that was a weak call.
And
But
and you know what? And the thing too is and we'll talk about it because obviously the highlight of the game was the defense. If not for that bad PI call, that defense holds the Packers to probably 3 points for the entire game.
I mean, at that point, after the Devontae touchdown, the Eagles put 10 on the board, so maybe it makes sense to kick a field goal. But I don't even know if that doesn't happen. I don't even know if Green Bay even considers a field goal because they're just trying to go for a touchdown because they're trying to literally get points on the board. But like you said, that touchdown
Maybe
comes
they
with
shut him out.
yeah. So with that being said, it took the Packers at home 55 minutes to get onto the board versus the Eagles defense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and obviously the highlight of the defense was the debut from Jalen Phillips.
Oh my God. I want to talk about some other guys first and then talk about him to obviously give him his glory. First off, was that not the best game that we've seen from 98 this entire year? Jalen Carter, that was the best that Jalen Carter's played the entire season.
I would say so, yeah. Yeah, I would say
and I think it was the effect of having all those guys. One thing that stood out to me is like having all these guys to disposal now. I think that's what helped Jalen Phillips a little bit more himself. But I mean, dude, is Jalix Hunt not making himself into one of the best rotational defensive linemen in the entire NFL?
Jalix Hunt had a very pedestrian start to the season. The past 3 games, he's looked really good.
When you're a rotational guy and you're getting pick sixes and tackles, TFL, sacks, like, I mean, you're doing your part. And a lot of that has to do with like what the other defensive linemen are providing with him to have support for him to be out there. Because now they're in the territory of where having all these guys healthy and back. Nolan Smith also came back as well and looked pretty good. Having all these guys at your disposal, BG playing a couple snaps. Now you're getting these one-on-one matchups. Now you're actually having one-on-one matchups instead of them being able to single out one particular guy. And then you just got our, I think the 5th or 6th round pick, 7th round pick. Forget exactly where Ojomo was picked at. He's literally calling the play out before it happens and stops the 4th down conversion from his. And that's our 3rd string defensive tackle making that play for us. That's on a rookie deal. Yeah.
No, he's 2nd, isn't he? He's got to be 2nd.
What do you just forget about Jordan Davis?
But I mean, like, I'm thinking about it as in pass rush situations, it's Ojomo.
I'm just thinking about the entire totem pole. I'm not thinking about stylistically, one being a nose guard, one being a 3-tech, all that stuff. I'm just on the totem pole. It's Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and then him. Obviously, yeah, he has a bigger role in the pass rush department, but there's a reason why he only sees limited snaps. So Jordan Davis.
Here's something. Jordan Davis had 29 snaps in the game. Moro Ojomo had 47. So I mean, I would categorize Moro Ojomo as the 2nd.
Yeah, but we're looking at one game, bro.
Yeah, I'm sure you would see those sort of numbers for most of the games. But anyway, not to get caught up on who's 2nd string, who's 3rd string. One thing I was thinking about the pass rush, because I think that's some of the best the pass rush has looked all season. It also looked really good. What was it, the 2nd game against the Giants when they had a bunch of sacks? I forget if that was the Giants game or the Vikings game. But it seems like as they add more guys to the pass rush looks better, I think it just boils down to, the strategy the Eagles have always implemented on the D-line, which is have a lot of different guys, rotate guys in and out, keep guys fresh. And because of that, it seems like everyone's performing well. It just seems like, what they tried to enter the season with, the strategy of just having Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt as your 2 pass rushers, versus a rotation of guys. The rotation of guys works a lot better. Guys like Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt are performing better when they're working into a rotation rather than playing almost every snap.
Yeah, they're not straining guys too. I mean, like if you look at their snap counts too, like Cooper DeJean plays like 6 special team snaps, and outside of that, none of their stars are like tasked with playing special teams and that in like a big role. You know what I mean? So they're staying fresh out there. Their linebackers, the versatility of their linebackers have allowed them to do a lot of these things that we're talking about.
Thanks to
it's really tough right now. I just saw on Facebook. I just saw on Facebook, Eagles, Nick Sirianni is live with his press conference right now. So if the Eagles fans aren't tuning in to our podcast, that's probably where they're at, getting some Nick Sirianni juice out there. But let's talk about Nick for a second, too. Ken Patullo, some people are still upset with his play calling. First time that I really thought about it this way, but do you think Kevin Patullo's play calling is the reason why Saquon Barkley is having a poor season?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because when you're not accompanying the run with the threat to pass, then Saquon isn't really going to have anywhere to run.
But it's funny because this is what everybody wanted to see: drop back pass or Jalen Hurts, and there's not too many quarterback design runs besides in specific situational football, and there's not too much juice with Saquon Barkley right now, and he's just really sitting back there and ripping the ball, and this is what people were asking from Jalen Hurts, and they're still winning football games, but people are still complaining too.
Yeah, people are always going to find a reason to complain, but yeah, I think the right now they're trying to use the run to open up the pass, but they're overutilizing the run. They're running it too much. I think they should be using the pass to open up the run a bit more, and I think that's a big.
It seems like they're allergic to running the ball on second down specifically. They'll they'll get a nice chunk gain on first down. They'll be set to do it, and then they'll try an intermediate pass, which is the worst form of offense that they have, which they've been getting a little bit better than this year.
Or
throw the ball over the middle of the field. It's like
for no gain on first down, and then try the run again on second down.
They use back shoulder fades and slot fades and comeback routes pretty much for their intermediate pickups in the pass game, whether it's Devontae or AJ, and then they kind of just dump the ball off to Dallas on play action fakes and stuff, or maybe up the seam a little bit, like that beautiful pass that sparked the comeback versus the Rams. But other than that, they're really just kind of vanilla offense, and it seems like before, a lot of people thought it was simplistic blocking schemes with the run game, but that's actually why the run game was so advanced, was because the blocking schemes were so elite, and it just seems like they're not running those type of schemes anymore. And I'm not sure if it also there's an issue with Brett Toth. I mean, he hasn't been playing the worst, but just that little tick in itself, the down tick from having Cam out there to him, could be the thing. But, I mean, 22 carries for Saquon. His longest was 15 yards. So if you take that one carry out for 15 yards, he's got 21 carries for 45 yards, barely over 2 yards per carry. That's pretty insane from a guy that's that talented.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you watch the game, he looked really good, in my opinion. He was making a lot of really nice cuts.
Well, he ended up with, if we take it as a whole, he had 4 yards per touch, 3 catches for 41 yards, so he kind of made up for it. So he went over 100 scrimmage yards. It took him 25 touches for 100 scrimmage yards. But at the end of the day, this is Saquon Barkley. If he was getting 25 touches last season, he's producing what? 208, like a Jonathan Taylor-like performance that we saw on early Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the blocking schemes are a part of it. I think the play calling is a part of it. The one thing I don't think Saquon's the issue. I mean, and he even had a really nice run that ended up getting called back because of holding that, and he looked really good on that run. He looked really good on his catch and run, where when he caught the ball, it was a situation where the Eagles really needed that first down. He catches the ball. He's got a guy in front of him before the first down marker, and I yelled at the TV, make him miss, or whatever. I yelled something along those lines, and he hit that nice spin move on him and took it all the way downfield. So, I mean, he's looked really good. He just hasn't really been done any favors. There was the one play where the blocking scheme was really bad and somebody came in free and blew up the play in the backfield. So it's definitely not on Saquon.
You know what they have been doing too? I know you've seen this. They've been adding the 6 lineman Fred Johnson on the field because it seems like they don't really have an inline blocking tight end. So they still did run the ball a lot. Something I also just noticed too was how we just said Saquon in the game on Week 10 Monday Night Football 2 days ago versus the Packers had 22 yards or 22 carries total. Do you know Jalen Hurts has had 22 carries total in the past 5 games he's played?
That doesn't surprise me. He hasn't really run the ball a ton. He did run a couple times against the Packers, and in one of those plays, he should have slid earlier than he ended up.
A lot for anytime touchdowns. He's also only scored 1 touchdown in the past 5 games.
Yeah, on the ground. The other thing I want to point out was, how about the hand off to Saquon Barkley at the fullback position. That was
Yeah,
surprising.
I tweeted that
I
Saquon
saw them
fullback.
line up with Saquon in at fullback. I was like, what are they doing? And then they ran a
Well,
fullback.
they actually they still use Will Shipley. He's a special teams star, so he has to get his tote in that. He actually had more carries than Tank Bigsby, but they try to get Tank involved, which I like because he's a very talented runner and he's really fresh. And that was the same role that he was in when he was in Jacksonville, splitting carries between him and Travis Etienne. So I like him in that role. Maybe that's another reason they want to take more wear and tear off Jalen. But at the end of the day, as much as everybody wants to see the Eagles pass the ball, we know one of our biggest threat of our offense is our quarterback making the defense defend all 11 people on the field.
Yeah. And the one thing I did also want to talk about, just going back to Jalen Phillips, because we kind of moved on from the pass rush without going back to him. I do want to bring up, and I know you hate hearing these sorts of things, but do you remember what happened the last time we made a deal at the deadline with the Miami Dolphins?
You know what you just did? Because you had my mind going one way because you said, I know you hate bringing this up. So what did you think that I thought you were about to bring up? Because I actually brought this up myself the other day, and then everybody was saying the same thing, and it's not like it's my original thought. Everybody that was watching the game probably felt the exact same way, and I just might have been the first person to put it on the internet because I'm always copy and pasting all my stuff on all social media. Were they not playing on a hockey rink in the Lambeau the other day? Slipping and sliding all over the place?
Slippery field. It did feel similar to the Brazil game in that way.
Yeah, it was crazy. That's what I thought you were going to bring up, though, the service.
Oh, no. I'm bringing up how Jalen Phillips, I mean, the last time we made a deal at the deadline with the Miami Dolphins, we brought in Jay Ajayi. He had a very impressive debut. That was against the Cowboys. That was the Unhook the Trailer game. And
I think that's still our most popping Twitter post of all time on our Paisan Sports, which we
barely I forgot
we're going to be better with. But the reply to that, I think we got like 3K on that or something. But yeah, I thought you were actually going to go a different way. I thought you were going to go the negative route, and we were going to discuss the topic I wanted to discuss with Jair Alexander.
Well, Jair, listen, we'll get to him in a quick second, but we still got to shout out Jalen Phillips, right?
He's an absolute beast. I mean, I think we talked about
eight pressures. He had the sack. He had the forced fumble. He had the fumble recovery. He had 6 tackles. I mean, he really was the driving force behind that great defensive performance. And
dude, I mean, I love our athletic.
Who was really great in that defensive performance. So I also want to shout out, and this is an obvious one, but he really had a very nice game, and that's Quinyon Mitchell.
Well, I mean, Quinyon Mitchell's one of the best players at his position in the entire NFL, so it doesn't really surprise me. But Jalen Phillips, I mean, I think the success that he's having this early, I mean, it's his first game with the Eagles. You saw that he was getting emotional because the stage that he's on, he's playing in Lambeau for the first time from being with the Miami Dolphins, never playing there before, and just the realization about being on the Eagles finally. And he said it's arguably the happiest day of his life. They haven't had a absolute mammoth 6'6", 270-pound gigantic defensive end like that in how long? I don't know if we've ever had one like that.
Yeah, no, that's a very good
point. We had
the
Trent Coles of the world. Like, I love Trent Cole. Nothing about him, but is Trent Cole 6'6", 270? Not even remotely close. Is Nolan Smith 6'6", 270? Not even in the same area ballpark of that. So we have these small, athletic, undersized guys. Jihad Campbell. I mean, we don't ask him to put his hand in the dirt, but he has variations of it. But
what was the measurables of? Although, albeit it was past his prime, what was the measurables of Michael Bennett? He's a thicker guy.
Yeah, he's a thicker. He was a traditional
6'4", 274. So not quite 6'6".
But he was the traditional defense end. The schemes, what I'm getting at is like they've been drafting more so outside linebackers recently, and they haven't had like we haven't had a dude that can put his hand in the dirt and play the run and play the pass like that. And I don't even know how long. And then you throw him next to Jalen Carter, who he towers over Jalen Carter, which is crazy. And he's like this. He's the same height as Jordan Davis. You run those guys out on the same D line. It's pretty frightening.
Yeah, and one of the most impressive things to me about Jalen Phillips, because I looked at the snap counts from the game. Now, of course, everyone on the Eagles D line is coming off of a bye week, right? Jalen Phillips not coming off of a bye week. Matter of fact, he doesn't get a bye week, and he led the Eagles pass rushers in snaps for the game with 53, accounting for 78% of the snaps. A guy not coming off a bye week when the rest of the guys are. He led the charge with snaps. He did, so it's just very impressive that he was just out there for almost every play and put on that performance.
26 years old. I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, it seems like this is like when you see a guy perform like this is why this dude got drafted 18th overall in the NFL draft, because he's this good. So
and it really is apparent to me that he was only struggling for a bit because of the injuries he was dealing with. And, when we trade for him, I did some digging, and from what a lot of Dolphins fans were saying, he was starting to look better and better each week since coming back from the injury. He was starting to return to his former self because he did really perform before he got hurt. And I think it was 2023. He had a lot of sacks in a few amount of games. I think he had more sacks than games played or something crazy like that before he got hurt. And a lot of people were saying he was starting to return to his former self. And Sunday night, Monday night, he really looked like the guy they made him out to be. So
yeah, and just for a reference back to what we just argued about a couple minutes ago, on the season, Moro Ojomo has played 65% of the defensive snaps, and Jordan Davis has played 61. So it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Pretty close.
They're pretty much.
So let's talk about Jair though, aka Frank Gore, aka Miles Jack, aka Marquise Goodwin.
I kind of thought this one. I wanted to just be optimistic. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a 6th-round pick, a little swap. He's a phenomenally talented player when he's locked in, but he hasn't been locked in a very long time. And I was just trying to be optimistic. I thought we might see him out there in Green Bay, but I knew he was still dealing with the injury. And obviously, I grew up a little bit of a Ravens fan. I mean, it's fading by the day, obviously now, but I still pay attention to the Ravens a little bit. And this was the same stuff that they were all saying when he was in Baltimore before. So, and I also thought it was confusing if he's like, so hype and excited about being a Philadelphia Eagle. He grew up, he was born in Philly. His mom is an Eagles fan and from Philly. If he was so excited about that, why didn't he just go to the Eagles in the offseason and free agency when he had the opportunity to do it that way? So it kind of, not too many things were adding up, but hopefully at some point he can get his mind right, get healthy, and maybe he can provide something to the Eagles. Also, another thing about that situation, which obviously it was kind of blown up a little bit because it was his former team he was playing against, but let me just completely fact check 1,000% before I make this assumption, because it's not an assumption. I'm looking at it right now, and my eye test was true. Michael Carter also only played one defensive snap the entire game.
He played, I saw that in the snap.
I was playing special teams, so they traded for 2 guys, and Adoree Jackson, I'm still seeing number 8 out on the field.
Well, I'll tell you what, Adoree Jackson didn't look bad.
Yeah, but that's every quarterback.
Jair Alexander, I feel like inserting a corner into the defense isn't the same as inserting a pass rusher. I think, they got to. To me, they probably have to learn the playbook.
Well, that's exactly what I was just about to mention. Is Darius Slay used to talk about the marriage of the pass rush and the cornerbacks in the secondary together. When your pass rush isn't that good and you're not producing that much pressure, then your cornerback's got to cover for long. And who do you think a team's offense is going to pick on their offensive play call, especially a guy like Matt LaFleur, who kind of looked a little dry with his play calling versus the Eagles specifically, but is a phenomenal coach. And people were talking about him possibly getting fired after the game, or if he's coaching for
checking the Packers subreddit during and after the game. They want him gone.
Yeah, it's so funny though. It's so funny when the casual fan says that about that and blames it all on the coach. When is Jordan Love just not overrated? Like, he makes phenomenal plays. And he also makes absolute bonehead plays at times. Bonehead. The Nakobe Dean play, bonehead play. That's a Carson Wentz play right there. Is the Nakobe Dean play?
Because what I wanted to say, a lot of the casual national fans, were saying like Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love both had the same bad game. No, they didn't. If you just look at the fact that they both fumbled the ball, but Jalen Hurts, his fumble, it was just a great play by the defender. Like I said, he should have slid before that, definitely. But when he was going to the ground, he was securing the ball. He didn't do anything stupid, and he just got punched out by the defender on a great play. Jordan Love, yeah, that was a Carson Wentz sort of play. That was really stupid. I don't know what he was trying to do. I don't know why he thought that because the ball was in the air, he thought he could just tap it and it would count as a pass. It was really dumb. Jordan Love just, and you could mention his wide receivers had some drops, sure, but I don't think it was a good performance by Jordan Love. I actually thought, and I think it was kind of the opposite, because Jalen Hurts had some missed throws. He did, which is very rare for him. But outside of that, I thought Jalen Hurts played well. I thought he did his best job at avoiding getting sacked all season. I thought he did a good job at escaping pressure and either throwing the ball away or looking for something downfield or running with his legs. I thought, Jordan Love, he just did not have a good game.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal quarterback, as in the sense of he can make every throw and he just puts them on target. But there's also times where he makes bonehead plays and he just tries to do too much and he believes in his talent too much. And that's just the number one, thing that we see from guys that have like immense talent like that, is where he's not a perfect player by any sense of the imagination. He's not a top 5 quarterback. He has all the tools to be a top 5 quarterback, but he's not because of those things. And then everybody always loves to scapegoat the coach because of it, when the coach has to call certain plays because he knows the limitations of a guy like Jordan Love. So I'm not trying to act like Matt LaFleur is not in the wrong at all. I mean, you're definitely in the wrong when Josh Jacobs even said it after the game. Josh Jacobs said he heard Moro Ojomo. He didn't say Moro himself, but he heard them calling up the play, and he didn't want to run to that specific hole because he knew the defense knew where he was going. So he bounced the ball outside, fumbles the ball, and completely changes the play call, and that might be a fault to him, but also there was nothing there. I mean, the defense snipped it out from
was getting blown up regardless, and that is on Matt LaFleur for having such predictable play calling. That actually is the one thing.
Well, that's also what Josh Jacobs said too. They called it 4 times earlier in the game, so that was the 4th time that they called it.
And not only that, they've called it. Somebody on TikTok showed that they've called it many times this season. So, if Moro Ojomo's in the film room watching film, he's going to see that play coming for sure. But yeah, that is the one thing we did forget to mention when talking about the defense, was shout out to Moro Ojomo for calling out that play and essentially.
Well, no, we did bring it up because that's what I was saying. That's when we.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, no, that's yeah. So I feel pretty good about the Eagles and where they're at right now. And just having all these guys back healthy and everything, we're not thrusting the role where BG's got to play 12 snacks and get 3 pressures and a couple QB hits. And if we don't get that, we're like, it doesn't matter. We need BG to be a leader on the field and play like 6 snaps a game when someone gets out there's gassed or whatever situation, and go out there, provide what he needs to. And we have all the resources of all the other things. I hope the offensive line gets a little bit healthier. Obviously, Lane went down and had the iconic cart situation and then came back in the 4th quarter. That beard's also looking crazy. I thought for a second he had long hair again, and I'm tripping, and then I just realized his beard is like so crazy long again, and that was like the picture of him on the field. But him going out on the cart and coming back onto the field, I mean, the Eagles historically.
His beard has gotten really long. That was surprising.
Dude, I know he's bald, and it confused me for a second thinking that he had long hair again, and I was like, what is going on? And then I realized, but yeah, I mean, hopefully the offensive line gets healthy, and maybe that'll spark the run game, and the Eagles can do some more with the run game, get A.J. Brown a little bit more involved too. I feel like a lot of people expected out of the bye week for the Eagles to just spam the ball to A.J. Brown with all the discussions, but that was not the case. Also, we had some interesting comments from A.J. Brown, which we pretty much get produced for us 2 to 3 times a week nowadays. And
I don't even care to talk about it at this point, honestly. It's just
this one was extremely pointed. This was like the most pointed that I think we've gotten from him. Him specifically talking about someone asking him how he's doing. He said his family's all good, but everything else is shit, as in like his professional career.
You have me in fantasy, get rid of me. Listen, AJ, I do have you in fantasy, and I'm not getting rid of you. All right, I still have confidence. I think AJ Brown can return to putting up elite production in the drop of it.
Well, what do you think about it? This will be like one of the last Eagles topics we talk about before we transition. But what do you think about these targets aren't going to AJ? So let's break this down for a second. Jalen Hurts is 24th in the league in pass attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Smith is the 30th most targeted wide receiver in the NFL with one more game played than A.J. Brown because of injury. And A.J. Brown is like in the mid-40s of targeted wide receivers in the entire NFL. So with being 30th targeted in the entire NFL, Devontae Smith is the 12th leading receiver in the NFL, and A.J. is obviously not up there. So there's only a difference of about 8 to 9 targets and one more game played. So a normal A.J. Brown performance, he could probably make up for that. So if he played all the games this season, you could feel pretty comfortable with saying A.J. and Devontae almost had the exact same amount of targets, and Devontae probably wouldn't have as many targets for that one game A.J. didn't play if A.J. did play in the game. So they're right. I mean, A.J.'s got like 54 targets this year in 8 games, and Devontae's got 62 in 9 games. So those targets that aren't going to A.J. are going to Devontae. But
per game, then the targets are about the same per game. By the way, one other thing I noticed about the snap counts: Devontae Smith had 58 snaps for 92% of the game. A.J. Brown had 49 for 78% of the game. That to me was a bit surprising. And Devontae Smith, I know we've talked about it on a couple different podcasts this season, but Devontae Smith, man, he's having a hell of a season. He really is showing what he's been capable of doing this whole time. And honestly, I think he's the best jump ball receiver in the entire NFL.
Yeah, I said he's top 10, and everybody started questioning me, and I said, and I just pulled out the stats, that exact stat sheet that I just mentioned, how Hurts is 24th most attempts in the league, and he's the 30th most targeted and has 12, is 12th in receiving yards, and he's the all-time leading playoff receiver in Eagles history. He's the leading receiver for the Eagles since 2021, and he's the reason we talked about before. Obviously, AJ was the catalyst, and AJ still might be a little bit better of a player than Devontae Smith is, but Devontae Smith is right there with all those guys in the NFL as being one of the top receivers in the league, and it's undeniable at this point. And he's a jump ball guy at 6 foot 170. He can run every single route in the route book, and he's one of the best route running receivers in the league. Yeah. I mean, he literally does everything that you want him to.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, let's move on now to my meatball of the week. And my meatball of the week is no other than two-time meatball of the week award winner, Nico Harrison. Nico Harrison has now been fired for his terrible efforts as Mavericks GM. And I'll tell you what, obviously if you approach any NBA fan that isn't a Sixers fan and you mention Nico Harrison getting fired, they're going to say, yeah, wow, that Luka trade was horrible. And obviously the Luka trade was the worst trade that he made. It's definitely the driving force behind him getting fired. It was really stupid at the time. It looks even more stupid now. But what I think a lot of people are overlooking, besides Sixers fans, because we've seen it firsthand, is the Quentin Grimes trade was also really, really bad. That was an awful trade. And Grimes looking great as a 76er still.
Yeah, that is very true. I didn't even think about that too. I saw an interesting perspective, but I wanted to give my take on it. But let me lay out the perspective first. I saw somebody online say, I feel like it was a little premature for Nico Harrison. He made the trade, but he hasn't been able to see it come to fruition, as in seeing Cooper Flag on the court with Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and all those moves together. They've had some of their best players hurt for the beginning of the season. But with that being said, he's the reason why Anthony Davis is on the roster, not being able to play and being injured, which we know that's literally Anthony Davis's bread and butter is being injured, is because he traded Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. And the Luka numbers are just absurd. Have you seen what Luka's doing this year?
Yeah. He's averaging 37 points per game, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. It's ridiculous.
37, 9, and 9 is makes
at
Jokic
37 points per game. It's absolutely
that makes Jokic look like he's doing nothing out there, and Jokic is averaging a triple.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. If not for, and the thing too is, if not for Luka, this Lakers team would be viewed as the worst team in the league without LeBron at the moment. But he's been carrying. I don't even think they have a good record right now, but he's been carrying them.
Who, the Lakers?
Yeah.
No, they have a really good record. They're like 4th in the West.
Oh, really? I don't know why I thought they had a bad record.
Austin Reeves is going parabolic too.
Austin Reeves. Yeah.
Do you know Luka You know, the Lakers have the highest offensive rating in the history of the NBA with Luka and Austin Reeves on the court together.
That makes sense. I
It's like
bet that defense
126.8 or
rating
something
is like
crazy.
that.
Yeah, the Lakers are 8. The Lakers are 8-3 with LeBron not even stepping on the court yet. Nuggets are eight
I
and
think I'm
two.
getting confused with
Spurs
the
8-2. Thunder 11-1, and the Thunder have been banged up all year too, and they're still 11-1. They're crazy
yeah.
good. They smacked the Warriors last night without pretty much everybody besides Chet and SGA, which was
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
I had Warriors money line in a parlay last night. So
But before we transition into like full Sixers talk, just casual NBA talk, this does have to do with the Sixers and the Mavs we just brought up. Cooper Flag has actually taken over the reins of the favorite for Rookie of the Year because VJ's kind of had a little bit of a down November so far. I mean, we're obviously, 11 games into the season, but VJ Edgecombe has had a little bit down, a little bit of a rookie slump that he's going through. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. But
yeah, and that'll happen with the rookies. You know, he's shown a lot of great flashes. He's going to be good. He's going to be great. But yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about it.
Well, I feel like it also has to do with like some of the other things, like Kelly Oubre right now over 11 games is averaging the most points that he has as a Sixer since being a Sixer, and I'm so happy they kept on. I love Kelly Oubre as a player. Like I think he's a perfect rotational player. He's the guys that like I can't put him in a Derek White category, but he's like that just like rotational like six guy that like ends the game on the court with you as a starter pretty much, but he's not, and he plays a role. Plays on-ball defender in the playoffs the past couple of years for the Sixers when they needed him to. Probably won't ask him to do that now because they have VJ, who's just actually the prototype of a defender, but Kelly Oubre's been doing it. He can rebound a little bit with his size. He's averaging 5.5 rebounds this year. He's shooting 35.5% from three, which is very good for him. And he's just a really solid player. I mean, this is the highest three-point average he's had literally since he was on the Suns in 2019-2020, which is pretty crazy. So, but I'm very happy with the contributions to Kelly Oubre, who's actually, when you consider like the stat-wise, he's played all 11 games. He's the second leading scorer behind Tyrese Maxey if you don't consider Joel Embiid, who's only played 6 games. And then you have Quentin Grimes doing his thing as well. I mean, hits the crazy shot last night before the half for just an absolute heave.
Yeah.
And Quentin Grimes is a beast. Who's Quentin Grimes' agent? How is his agent allowing him to get paid $8.7 million per year for what he does?
And not only that, after waiting the entire offseason to sign a contract, which is kind of funny.
That's also like Andre Drummond still gets 10 boards a game too. Like, why is he not making $10 million a year?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I was looking at stats this morning. Here's what surprised me about Drummond. Drummond is averaging more minutes per game this season than he did when we had him a few years ago before we put him in that trade for James Harden. Which it
because
felt like
we were riding prime Joel, and we just weren't seeing it. Where now is like the pressure's taken off. We know Joel's a Hall of Famer. We know he's one of the greatest centers to ever play, but he doesn't have to go out there and get 35 and play 40 minutes and be bouncing all over the floor every night, or even play every night. That's just what it has come to, which is a good thing for the Sixers.
But no, Drummond still looks really good. He's still so much younger than you would think, too. He's one of those players where kind of like the opposite of Aaron Judge, where you're like, oh, wow, Judge is a lot older than I thought. No, Drummond is only 32 years old. It feels like he's 36 at this point in.
Yeah, and I just did the math off my hand because he was drafted in 2012, and I heard it last night. And I had to confirm it.
And actually, sorry, not to cut you off, but funny enough, while I'm mentioning it, just as a reference point, it's kind of funny. Aaron Judge is older than Andre Drummond, which is it just doesn't feel that way.
Dude, Andre Drummond, he's been in the league for 14 years. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
14 years.
He's been in the league a long time, and he's also been out of his prime for a long time. So you just does
Where would you rank? Do you think Andre Drummond's the best backup center that they've had on their roster in the Joel Embiid era?
Yeah, I've always said this, and I think Dwight Howard.
You think it's like his role because Dwight Howard was good, and Dwight Howard's Andre Drummond is a pretty good all-time player, honestly, for his prototype. But like Dwight Howard's one of the best centers ever to play.
Yeah, no, I mean, Dwight Howard in his prime, obviously better than Andre Drummond in his prime, but as a backup center on the Sixers, I haven't seen a better backup center play than Andre Drummond a few years ago, and he still looks really good now. Dwight Howard also looked really good as our backup center. And we've had some duds, man. We've had some serious duds. Kyle O'Quinn, Al Horford, Greg Monroe.
Dario playing small ball
I
5 for us too.
like what we got out of Boban. He was pretty good. Paul Reed was okay. Now the current Piston who we went up against.
We love bringing up random obscure stats while I'm looking at the Andre Drummond stat line. 2017, 2018, 16 rebounds averaged per game in 78 games, 5 offensive rebounds on average in a game over 78 games.
Who was about Drummond? Yeah, he was one hell of a rebounder in his prime, and he still is a great rebounder, honestly. I remember when he used to play on the Pistons back in high school. My buddy Derek, you remember the song "Jumpman" by Drake, and I think it was Future when that song was popular. Yeah, my buddy Derek used to go Drummond, 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 Drummond. So I still think of that sometimes when Drummond's on the court.
How many? Do you know Andre Drummond has at least, because it cuts off to a certain point, but I just looked up. You know, he has at least in his career 25 games with over 23 rebounds collected. That's pretty absurd.
I didn't know that, but right now, what I'm looking at is he, for 7 straight seasons, he led the league in offensive rebounds per game for 7 straight seasons. That's ridiculous.
I don't know if Wilt isn't on here for some obscure reason, but I just looked it up. The most 20 rebound games in a career, and Dennis Rodman's way above the competition with 158. Andre Drummond's second with 91, and then our boy Dwight Howard's third with 82. So a full season's worth of 20 rebound games for Dwight Howard, and then a little bit over that for Andre Drummond, and then almost 2 seasons worth of 20-point rebound games for Dennis Rodman in his career. That's absurd.
Yeah. And while we're talking about rebounds, I think this is a good transition. One thing I want to bring up is the great contributions we've had from just random players, where it was Justin Edwards last night dropping 22 points and 5 of 6 threes. But a couple games before that, it was Trendon Watford with a 20-point triple-double, including a whopping 17 rebounds.
You know what made me almost cry, though? Do you see what Joel said about it?
Oh, yeah, he said, I felt like we had Ben Simmons back.
That almost made me tear. I think every true Sixers fan I think Joel knew what he was doing there, because he knows that strikes a chord with true Sixers fans. You can't be saying that, Joel. That's getting everybody emotional.
And the thing too is that I think that game is going to go down. It's just the Trendon Watford game, because he hasn't even carried that success over into his.
No, he's been good though all year. It's just
good. He hasn't. I
wanted to bring that up too, is because now they're in a territory where they're just trying to win games, and they're I don't know why the expectations were, we don't know what's going on with the Sixers. Are going to be a top 5 worst team, bro. We just had all these dudes that have averaged 15-plus points in their career, with a couple guys averaging 20-plus significantly, and Joel, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey. And then we get the 3rd overall pick, and everyone just thinks that we're going to be one of the worst teams in the league, which makes literally absolutely no sense at all. That was the preseason expectations, where the Sixers were going to be ass again, because we have no clue to what to expect from them when we have all this young talent. But where I'm getting at with that is, I feel like Jared McCain, since he's come back from injury, hasn't even really been able to establish himself. He's looked awful. He has 0 points.
He'll get it going for sure. But he looks bad so far. Embiid didn't. Embiid looked good when he first got back.
So
I can't wait to get Paul George back, because I think
Jared McCain's a very on-ball guy. Offensively, he can play off-ball too, but it's hard with Tyrese, VJ, Quentin Grimes to find out his role, especially when Justin Edwards is cooking like that. But 15 games in his debut of the season on the 4th, 15 minutes, 0 points versus the Pistons, 11-9, November 9th, 9 minutes, 0 points. And then versus the Celtics last night, 7 minutes, 0 points. He has yet to actually score this season.
Yeah, and he's 0 for 5 from the floor, but they'll work him back in. He'll get something going eventually. Quentin Grimes, though, what I want to talk about Quentin Grimes is, of course, he averaged, 20 or 21 points per game last season. And, I figured this season with Maxey coming back and the inclusion of VJ Edgecombe and, Kelly Oubre and all these, and Joel Embiid coming back and all these guys that can score, I thought we would see a significant dip in his points per game production, probably down to 14 or 13 points per game. He's still getting buckets. He's averaging over 17 points per game. And now that he's not carrying the load on offense and he's letting the game come to him a bit more, he's shooting at much higher percentages. He's shooting 40% from three on, I think, 6 threes attempted per game. Quentin Grimes.
Dude, I don't know how nobody
he's a target. I think he has a chance to win Sixth Man of the Year.
I don't know how yeah, he's averaging, I think, the third most points. The last time I checked the stat, the third most points off the bench in the NBA. I don't know how a team like the Hornets or the Trailblazers are in a different spot now because they have Drew Holiday and they actually have some vets over there. But one of those teams didn't see that type of talent. All right, why don't we go send a first round pick and a second round pick over there? NBA terms, obviously, that's not a lot. Why don't we send some back end stuff to go get Quentin Grimes on a roster? That doesn't make sense. He's got crazy bounce low key, which caught me off guard. He's got crazy bounce. When he goes up to finish, bro, he's literally meeting with the rim, doing finger rolls and stuff. I'm like, wow. And then, dude, his shot is really funky, over the head like this, complete over the head follow through. But the way he steps into it with his step backs and stuff, it makes it flow so well. And I'm just surprised that he was on the Knicks too, and then got traded off the Knicks and everything when he first started off. And I was just I'm pretty sure him and Emmanuel Quickley were coming off the bench. Emmanuel Quickley's averaging a decent amount, I think, for the Raptors now. But I just didn't see how nobody's recognized the talent of Quentin Grimes, and nobody extended a qualifying offer. We had the guys in that tier Cam Thomas and some of the other guys that were restricted free agents like Jonathan Kuminga, and they're all still with their same teams. But in my opinion, besides Jonathan Kuminga, if you compare him to Cam Thomas, he's so much better of a player than Cam Thomas is, and he provides so much more in a winning aspect. And I'm just surprised that no team's actually extended an offer to go beat the Sixers out from $8.7 million. I know he's asking for 2025, but dude, Duncan Robinson was getting paid $20 million with the Heat when he was there to hit 2 threes a game. Quentin Grimes is a significantly better player than him.
Oh, yeah,
so he should be making that money. He should be making that money.
So Quentin Grimes is currently 4th in the Sixth Man of the Year odds at plus 1,600. Ahead of him with 1,300 is Jeremy Grant. Then Ajay Mitchell with plus 750 odds. And then number 1 is Jaime Jaquez at plus 430.
Yeah, on the Heat. Do you think those numbers are staggered right now because Jared McCain came back and he's seen as another bench guy? And at the end of the day, Jared McCain might even be more talented than Quentin Grimes, which is what the issue is.
Well, let me ask you this. So the second Sixer in the Sixth Man of the Year odds to show up on this list, the second 76er at plus 6,000 odds, who do you think that Sixer is? I know, and just to give you a reference point, I'll give you the other players that are at plus 6,000. You have Keldon Johnson, Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball, Isaiah Stewart, Bryce.
Well, what it would be with the implied mindset of what I just brought up, as in he may not be in the starting role when guys come back from injury. Is it Kelly Oubre?
It is not Kelly Oubre.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because if Paul George comes back, maybe they start Paul, but Kelly Oubre ends up playing more minutes. Maybe that's the thing, but. Who would be second on the Sixers in those odds right now?
Yeah, at plus 6,000, tied with the likes of Keldon Johnson, Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball.
Oh, it's got to be our boy. Look, it's either it's one of the bigs.
No, incorrect.
It's not Bona or Drummond?
It's not Bona or Drummond.
Trendon Watford?
Nope, not Trendon Watford.
Dude, who could I mean, it can't be VJ. He's a solidified starter.
I'll give you a hint. It's somebody we were just talking about 5 seconds ago.
Jared McCain?
It's Jared McCain.
Yeah, I just overthought the living shit out of that. I could have said that as the first name. I already took him out of the equation because of what
that's why I asked. I didn't think you would get that.
Well, yeah, what I told you. I think that what's his name's numbers are down because Jeremy King's back healthy, and he is a bench player that is probably one of the best bench players in the league.
That's
But
why
so I just answered the
you were
question and then
gonna get
didn't
it.
say it
That's
afterwards.
what made me a little worried you were going to get it. Kelly Oubre actually is at plus 10,000 going off of what you're thinking. Maybe he becomes the sixth man.
What would you feel like? We're not going to sit here and start crying about Paul George and Joel Embiid, but does that make sense for Paul George to play 20 minutes a game and start the game, and then Kelly finishes the game?
Wait, what's the question?
Like, does it make sense for Paul George to come back and start, and then Kelly finish the game and keep Kelly fresher and just let Paul George just the initial?
I think it depends. I think it's if you need offense late in the game, Kelly Oubre. If you need defense, Paul George. Although Kelly Oubre does play good defense, but
he's been the on-ball defender in the playoffs for us for the past since he's gotten here.
Yeah, but Kelly Oubre, he really came up clutch. Now, one guy who, because speaking of NBA awards, this is like a double entendre tie-in. I'm also looking at the NBA Clutch Player of the Year award. Now, the first Sixer to pop on this list at plus 1,500 is Tyrese Maxey. Listen, I have so many great things to say about Tyrese Maxey, and this isn't me trying to rag on him. It's just something I'm noticing in recent games. I don't think Tyrese Maxey is all that clutch. In the fourth quarter, he's not been stepping up. He has not been stepping up in the fourth quarter this year. He stepped up in overtime in that one game, but in the fourth quarter, he just hasn't been clutch.
He also has had one of the biggest shots in Sixers history, too, with that net shot that prolonged the series a couple years ago. So he has it in the tank. But I'm
not saying he doesn't have the clutch gene. I'm just saying this season.
Well, do you think it's an issue with, bro, isn't he playing 41 minutes a game? He's playing 40 and a half minutes a game.
He's putting up Allen Iverson numbers in minutes per game.
Yeah, and that's obviously, he's still, if he's actually playing normal minutes, 35, he's probably just averaging 28, 29, and not the 33, but it's all good. I'm not hating, but do you think he's just tired? Is bro just tired?
It could be that.
Because think about how he plays, too. It's not like he's just catching shooting and he's like Paul George where he has the handle, but he's not specifically he's handling the ball every play, hitting step backs and everything all game long. Playing defense as well. I think mileage wise, he's if we look at NBA mileage, he had the highest mileage game in the NBA so far this year. He ran 3 miles in one of the games.
Yeah, I can see that. Of course, there was the game where in the fourth quarter, I forget against what team. It might have been the Celtics, but they had the lead in the fourth quarter and they completely blew it. They barely put up any points, but in the final 6 minutes, and it was just him and Embiid taking all the shots, and nothing was falling. That could have been.
So Dante, you want the advanced stats, NBA advanced stats from the website itself? I found it.
Sure.
40.4 minutes a game, distance in feet per game is 15,100.6 feet, which is 2.9 miles, which is 0.3 miles more than any other player in the entire NBA.
Yeah, that's.
And VJ Edgecombe is tied for second most mileage in the league, and that's 2.6 with all those other guys I just mentioned that are 0.3 away from him.
That's pretty great. Listen, final thing.
Kelly Oubre, it's just a Sixers thing, I guess. Kelly Oubre, 2.5 in mileage, top 10 in the NBA.
Oh my God.
So I guess it's just a Sixers thing.
They're just running all over the court. It's the Coach Carter method. But final thing I want to talk about, that we want to talk about with the 76ers. Finally, after 14 years, we have seen the return of the black jerseys. And not the Boathouse Road jerseys, the actual black jerseys.
Nah, this is different. I had my hat on last night yesterday, if anybody did watch yesterday, I was having some allergy issues, which we were going to go through the podcast. Dante also
lost
Wi-Fi.
I had internet issues. Also, just to touch on it very quickly, I tried concocting some protein dessert recipe I saw on TikTok. It was absolutely disgusting. I tried smushing it into a croissant with some Hershey's chocolate to make it edible. I tapped out halfway through. It was really bad. It was disgusting. It was gross.
And that's why Dante is one of our meatballs of the week. But absolute beaut. Absolute beaut. What the Canadians would say, absolute beaut. Those jerseys. Did you see you saw the bird's eye view picture of Tyrese on the center logo dribbling and like the entire. It's
I
just
didn't see that, but what I have seen, which was a beautiful touch by the 76ers, they put somebody, they set somebody up with like a vintage 2000s camera to record.
oh yeah, a little
Photos.
Polaroid boy or whatever it is. I
Like an
gave my
older
best friend.
camcorder, and that looked pretty cool.
I gave my best friend. Thinking about it now, I gave my best friend my black Sixers Allen Iverson jersey back in the day, and he moved to Florida and still has it. So.
Mm. I'm probably gonna get especially because I need a new Sixers jersey. The only jersey I have right now is the Adidas Joel Embiid jersey, and part of the number on the back is ripped. So it's the jersey before it had the red outline behind it. So I need a new jersey. I'm probably gonna get like a Tyrese Maxey black throwback jersey. Also, did you see what was unveiled yesterday? The City Edition jersey this season.
No, I actually did not see that at all. The thing
Oh,
about
you
me with
haven't
the
seen it.
Sixers jerseys is it's tough because I actually got one of the most fire jerseys of all time, and it makes me like hard to like try to find another jersey that would match it. So Joel's first time making the All-Star game, I got the blacked out All-Star jersey with the Sixers logo on it when it dropped the night of the All-Star game. So it's the fully stitched blacked out All-Star jersey of Joel Embiid, and it's so fire.
Oh,
And
that's pretty cool. I
I
just
can't
sent
like
you the City Edition jersey this year. In terms of Sixers City Edition jerseys in the past, it's not up there with the best. I think it's solid. I think it looks decent, but it's not anything to write home about. I do like the stripe along the side.
the
of
gold
it.
stripe. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
same, pretty much the same jersey. The font is different on the numbering, which I like compared to the same,
Well,
pretty much same jerseys they had of that vicinity a couple years ago. I like the font better though. I think it flows a
Well,
little bit more.
it's the same font on the lettering as the first two City Edition jerseys.
Well,
They
didn't
have.
they used to have the rainbow colors going down? Like they had green, like
Well,
red, and
that's for their Spectrum jerseys.
okay.
That's what they've done. Last year it was the white Spectrum jerseys. A couple of years before it was the blue Spectrum jerseys, which I think were some of their best City Edition jerseys. I was also a big fan of like the 70s looking one that said 76ers in like an old style font. I remember.
Let's talk about this real quickly. There's a couple things. So I think the Phillies City editions have grown on me a little bit. How do you feel?
Yeah, they've grown on me a bit. They've grown on me a bit. I don't hate them anymore. I kind of like them.
I just like how it's like set for a Friday night. We know when you're going to get them. They're so different looking from the other Sixers jersey or the Phillies jerseys, and the Phillies already have the best jersey. Like, I mean, who has better jerseys than the Phillies? Like,
Well,
as in the entire whole. The gray road jersey is my favorite jersey of the Phillies.
I think the gray road jersey is an underrated one. I think the primary home jersey, I think it's nice. I don't think there's anything special about it.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of the Sunday afternoon jersey, the cream colored one, but of course the powdered blue is the best in baseball.
Dude, I like the cream one. I like the cream one more than I like the regular stock pinstripe jersey.
Here's my question to you. Now that the Sixers are rocking the Iverson throwbacks, when you take into account the Sixers, Phillies, and Eagles collectively as a city, and now I'm not talking about do we have and I'm not asking the best throwback jersey in all of sports. I'm not asking if it belongs to a Philly team, but I'm asking as a city collectively, do we have the best set of throwback uniforms?
Well, did you know why I mentioned the Phillies into this conversation? Because I just saw somebody try to say that the Phillies didn't have the best powder blue jerseys in the MLB.
Some would say the Cardinals, and I think
That's what the Cardinals got in front. The bird is what makes the Cardinals slightly better than the Phillies ones. Slightly better.
Yeah. I think the Cardinals one. There's an argument to be made for their powder blues, but this is what I mean, right? So the St. Louis, I mean, they only have their baseball team, so they don't have the best throwbacks in all of sports as a collective city. So I think, and then if you think about other cities that have a great throwback, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their creamsicles. The Rays don't. I mean, they do have a nice throwback. I don't know if they actually wear those throwbacks, and they don't have a basketball team. So I think just collectively as a city, when you take a look at the Sixers black throwbacks, the Eagles Kelly greens, and the Phillies powder blues, there's not a city with better throwback uniforms. collectively.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find the one jersey now. I've never had it in my life, and I've always wanted it my entire life. You ever seen the AI half blue, half red jersey, where it's literally half blue up top and half red, and
Yeah,
it's the
yeah,
Stilla?
that was a throwback to. That was
Shoo!
a
My
throwback to
goodness,
when
they ever
they
whip those
wore.
out, I'd cry. I'd cry if they ever whip those out.
Yeah, that was a throwback to a jersey they wore in the early '60s for only a couple seasons. Which
They
I
also
think
had
they
that Nats
worn in a
jersey too,
while.
the OG Nats jersey too. That one's pretty sick as well. But my favorite
Oh, that's
Sixers
nice.
jersey of all time is the blue alternates of this same era of the Blacks that we're wearing right now. The blue alternate of that era is the best of all time. It's my favorite ever. Not even close.
I think that one. I don't know, but I mean that one's decent. But I wouldn't say all that. I do really like the jerseys they wore back in the '80s. I thought those were nice, and then of course they brought them back.
Dude, it's crazy.
Um,
Remember they used to the 90s, like when they were wearing the era jerseys now, bro, they were satin. Remember they were satin? They didn't even have holes in them. They were just straight satin. Like the material on them.
are you referring to the ones that have like the stars going up like this, and that's just like
No,
six?
literally the jersey they're wearing now, like the blue version of it, and I'm pretty sure the black and the other ones were like satin.
Oh,
Like the AI era was like
yeah,
literally
yeah, yeah,
literally
yeah, yeah.
satin.
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, yeah, there was no holes in those jerseys. They were just, and
What's your
they
least
were
favorite
big.
Philadelphia sports jersey? I mean, the Flyer. We got to show love to our
The
other squad out
Flyers,
here
their
too.
old jerseys were great. The Flyers had a
The
great.
Flyers just have sick jerseys, and the black, orange, and white just is sick. It's sick.
Yeah, I mean collectively, as I said, we do have great jerseys.
Yeah. What's the worst though? Probably blue and yellow Eagles.
The worst, and this is going to be a hot take, because for some reason the fans seem to love them. They only wore them once. Well, they originally only wore them once back in the '70s, and it ended up being a disaster. The fans hated them, so they never wore them again. But then when they brought him back a few years ago, when Andrew McCutchen was on the team, for some reason the fans loved him this time, and they never wore him again. I'm talking about the Phillies full maroon pants, maroon jersey, zip
Oh,
up
I love them, bro.
jersey. Atrocious.
You don't like
But
those?
no, I don't like them. They looked.
I think maybe it's because like the nostalgia ruins it. Like the newer players wearing it. That's such like an '80s jersey. That's like such a '70s '80s jersey where
No,
it's
I
like
think I think I think my feelings about it are what the fans' feelings were back when they first wore
yeah,
them.
but like when Tyreek Hill starts wearing the sleeves like those loose sleeves, I'm like, bro, stop. But that was literally football in the '80s. So it's like that doesn't look bad because everybody's wearing those
No, but I'm
jerseys.
saying that maroon jersey looked bad in the '70s,
Oh, okay. I mean, I
and it
guess
looks
that's
bad today. I'm
dude. I
saying
would
it's
feel
a
like you
bad
like.
jersey.
I would feel like you did.
I don't like how it's all. I think if it was gray pants and a maroon jersey, I don't think it would look bad. But the all maroon, I think it just looks bad.
Your Schmidt jersey's not the maroon one.
No, that's white. That's white with maroon
Yeah,
pinstripes.
I guess so. I don't like see. I don't like wearing. I will never buy a jersey. Like, say the Sixers come out with a new jersey they'd never worn in their history. I would never buy a Allen Iverson version of that jersey. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I do think, but in terms of other worst Philly sports jerseys, obviously the Yellow Jackets throwbacks that the Eagles
Oh
wore for that
God.
one game. Also the jerseys the Sixers wore for a couple of years in the early '90s, with all the stars going up.
Dude, you
That
don't like. I like that jersey, bro. I was just about to say that's a sleeper jersey. I like that jersey,
I don't like that jersey. I do
dude.
not like that
Dude.
jersey.
I don't know. The Orlando Magic jerseys back in the '90s were so sick, in my opinion. With like
Well,
the
yeah,
stars.
those worked. Those Sixers ones didn't, in my opinion. Um, I'm trying to think what else. Oh, the City Edition jerseys the Sixers wore the one year where it was just the gray jersey with the big Liberty Bell on it. Those were bad.
I like the Cream City Edition jerseys a lot from a couple years ago.
I can't think of a bad.
What
other
about
than
the
yellow-
City Edition Skyline, the Philadelphia Skyline City Edition, the black with like the just the
you're talking about the Boathouse Row jerseys.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I like those actually. A lot of people.
Dude, I don't like the brotherly love jerseys at all.
I didn't hate the brotherly love jerseys.
And It was kind of like how we
overall,
talked.
the Pacers had some good City Edition jerseys.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the gray now, and it's a Ben Simmons one too. So it's
Yeah, but the big Liberty Bell on it, those were awful.
No, I thought you were talking about the one where it's just gray with the stars around the number.
I like those. Those were like meant to be like Rocky looking ones. Speaking of Rocky, one quick final topic, since this is the Paisan Sports podcast. Currently, I don't know if you know this, but currently in Philly, they're shooting a Rocky movie, but it's not a Rocky movie. It's a movie about Sylvester Stallone creating Rocky. Similar to, I don't know.
So, like, is it considered a documentary in a sense?
No, it's more of like a biopic.
Okay.
Essentially.
I actually enjoy those types of films more than actual movies itself. I don't really like fiction at all. Like, I don't really like anything fiction at all, honestly.
Well, the guy playing Stallone, he kind of has Stallone's look. I'm gonna send you it on Instagram right now. He does kind of have he honestly maybe a bit of Stallone mixed with Timothy Chalamet. He doesn't look as like broad as Stallone.
He's not heavy. He's like, I always get told I got the heavy,
but he's got the facial features.
I always get told I look Italian, but like you can see the Irish because I have like heavy eyebrows, like my dad and my grandfather do, and like he just doesn't have those heavy eyebrows. You know, he's just got like the modern look. That looks like an AI generated of that. I'm not talking smack though. Good for him, but that's what that looks to me. Let's talk about the Phillies before we get out of here real quick. They extended the offer to Kyle Schwarber, so that would, if he accepts, he would get paid 125% of, I think, the top 100 MLB players in the league. So I think the contract comes out to be 1 year, like $22.5 million. We'll see if he accepts. A lot of people think he's actually, a new place I heard Kyle Schwarber potentially going to.
Where?
The New York Mets.
Oh, I'd shoot myself. That would be the end.
Would you trade Pete Alonso? Would you trade 28-year-old? Would you trade Pete Alonso, who's around our age, for Kyle Schwarber? As in, like we get Pete Alonso and they get Kyle Schwarber, and that's that.
No, I want Schwarbs. I want Schwarbs. You can't have him. You can't have him Mets. No.
Also,
Schwarber in the Mets uniform.
I've seen people believe that Cody Bellinger, who's ranked consensually pretty much the third overall free agent, higher than Kyle Schwarber himself. A lot of people do think he's actually going to end up with Philadelphia. And he also has the ability to play first base as well, so maybe that can make things a little bit interesting. But I was talking about Cody Bellinger should have been on the roster last offseason. I actually said he should have been on the roster over Kyle Tucker because it was more realistic of how to acquire him, just being out there. And I would love for Cody Bellinger to go on to the Phillies, but most likely he'll just go sign with the Dodgers again and get back to MVP form, and they'll three-peat. So that's probably what will happen. Also, I saw Ranger is likely to end up with the Padres. That'd be another tough one. We kind of have a rivalry brewing. Crazy stat, Dante. My cousin is a Padres fan, and we've had him on the podcast, and he talks so much smack to me, which all got recanted when their season ended the way that it did. The Padres have won 5 total playoff series in the history of their organization.
That does not surprise me.
So I don't even know how much of a threat it would be if Ranger went over there, but maybe one of the most successful playoff pitchers of all time could help the Padres a little bit. But also, I feel like a big thing for me is to figure out this roster with the Phillies. Would you agree? They have to figure out what the fuck they're doing with Alec Boehm and Bryson Stott first before they can set up the rest of their roster. I feel like these guys have just been teetering the seesaw and holding the Phillies almost hostage for years. With are they going to blossom into the players that they could be, or are they just going to stay who they are? Because if they stay who they are, they're not good enough players.
I think we've learned who they are. I mean, like I mentioned, going into the offseason, they got to make some changes. The same core of guys. It's not going to get it done.
And I don't need to end the podcast on a somber note, but just a real question. Have we seen the best from Zach Wheeler? Is the Zach Wheeler downtick going to begin to happen? Because that will honestly be pretty brutal on the Phillies if Zach Wheeler isn't Zach Wheeler anymore and kind of downticks a little bit.
Sorry, repeat that.
I said I don't want to end the podcast on a somber mood, but do you think we've seen the best from Zach Wheeler with what's going on in his current situation? And do you think?
I don't know. That's tough because we really have no idea how much he's being affected by what he's dealing with, and he looked phenomenal on the mound last time we saw him. So I don't know. That's
I mean, what's the reference point? I mean, Wemby's like prime. I mean, we're talking about a prime athlete. Who's more prime in their athletic prime than Wemby himself? And he's only 21, or 21, 22, wherever he is. He overcame the blood clots, but he's also not in his 30s too. You know what I mean? So that's a different situation.
Yeah,
but
so it's just too tough to say, in my opinion, honestly. I just hope.
Also, with that being said, Bryson Stott and Alec Boehm, if one of those guys goes or both of them goes, I hope either at least one of them's gone. I think it's time for Edmundo Sosa to claim one of the 9 spots.
No, I don't think so. Listen, he's great as in the role he is. I wouldn't love him as an everyday starter. We've seen him step into the everyday starter.
Look at the team that just won the World Series. They're getting.
I think he's a much better as a platoon guy that can play.
I just watched the Dodgers win the World Series with Tommy Edman winning NLCS MVP in 2024, and then Rojas going ballistic at the end of the series. And Edmundo Sosa is better than both of those players.
I mean, that is a fair point, but
those are the type of guys like you have the Bryson of the world, but like you need like the other glue guys too. Last Phillies topic. Before we get out of here, I'm actually drawing a blank. I just had it on the tip of my tongue and then just completely forgot it. Sheesh. Well, who was I going to bring up? Oh, Harrison Bader just wished the Phillies fan base goodbye on Instagram, which was pretty tough. He said this year only had 2 months, 2.5 months to it. He said this year, though, after the words. So that's a little bit of hope. A little bit of hope.
I mean, I'm not holding out too much hope. I mean, it's ever since we trade for him and when he was playing great, I mean, I kind of set my expectations that this is just going to be a deadline acquisition and we're not going to see him in a Phillies uniform again. So, I mean, if he ends up staying, I'll be ecstatic, but I'm not expecting much.
All right, I lied. I got one more topic because it came into my head.
I am starving.
So am I. I am too. But Edwin Diaz, he's out there. We already talked about Cody Bellinger being
I bring him in.
The Dodgers are reportedly interesting. Shocker. But Cody Bellinger has really been the guy that I feel like I've mentioned and other people have too as like a realistic top free agent for the Phillies. Could they go get like a realistic top bullpen arm or one of those things? Or would you just be like, screw that, I'll just take Jose back with Johan and we'll run it back from there?
Oh, well, no, if you're asking to choose between Johan or Edwin Diaz, no, Johan Duran.
No, I'm saying like they already have Johan. That's not a thing. Like Jose Alvarado is a free agent.
Jose Alvarado.
As in, like, you already have Johan as, like, one of the best bullpen arms of the past 10 years as the nucleus of your bullpen. Do you go out and try to get a big arm next to him, like Edwin Diaz, too? Or, like,
I think offense is definitely a bigger focus. I would not hate another bullpen arm, but offense is the bigger focus.
Dude, imagine having 2 righties like that, like Diaz to set up Johan. Dude, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. All right. I think they should re-sign JT, too. That's my boy. But that'll do it for episode 122 of the Paisan Sports podcast. Thank you guys for tuning us in. This might have been one of the earliest podcasts we've ever done at noon, so feels good. A little bit different energy out there. Some news coming out as we speak as well. So make sure you guys go check out some of the other episodes as well. We're going to get more active on the social media pages too, so I get a little uptick in the content for you guys and have a big 2026 that we're preparing for. So by the next time we go live on this podcast, not exactly sure when we are, sometime next week. Hopefully the Eagles get to 8-2. And 2 losses is the minimum that every top teams in the league have. So they're in pretty much a race. I think there's 7 2-loss teams in the entire NFL. So that's almost like a fourth of the NFL is a 2-loss team currently, or was going into last season or last week. So that's interesting. Maybe we'll have some Phillies free agent news. The Phillies signed Brian De La Cruz. Remember we were talking about him before on Miami? I think he was on the Braves as well. He's played for like almost every NL East team, and he's a guy that has a little bit of pop to his bat, and it was a cheap guy we talked about maybe at the deadline. They signed him to a contract the other day. So he's on the roster now.
Yeah.
So they have a decently talented outfielder that they could get into the mix. And we haven't even brought up – when was the last time we brought up Andrew Painter? or Aiden Miller.
Well, I was actually about
Justin Crawford.
About to bring him up. You cut me off earlier, but it is what it is. Yeah, no. Hopefully, we will see Andrew Painter in the starting rotation this upcoming season. If we end up losing Ranger or somebody else, or Wheeler can't come back.
That's not hopefully. I mean, dude, he was supposed to be up at the thing, and he was just recovering from the injury and not looking exactly the same. He should be on the opening day roster with.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying hopefully. That's why I'm saying hopefully.
And then the 100 innings pitch thing might not even be a thing because the injury's so dated now that it's like that might not even be the threshold for him anymore. One thing I will be salty about, they don't resign JT, then the Eduardo Tate move looks a little bit worse than it was. You know what I mean? So, but at the end of the day, Johan Duran. So,
yeah.
But and we'll also get to talk about the Sixers and what they do in the next week. They'll have a couple games, and they're at 7-4 right now, jockeying for a top 4 spot in the East right now. So we'll have all that for you guys next week. But thank you guys for tuning in to episode 122 of the Paisan Sports Podcast. We'll see you guys next week.